Good morning, everybody. Mr. Flanders here, or well, good afternoon. I keep running into this issue. But it is Mr. Flanders here. We are taking a look at more science and social studies today. So let's go ahead and start our work by putting our name at the top of our paper and the date, which is 2/3/21. That stands for February 3rd, 2021. Now, for the past couple of days, we've been talking about things that we can't normally see. We talked about invisible ink. We talked about X-rays. We talked about how X-rays can see bones and a little bit of muscle, but mostly our skeletons. Okay? We talked about invisible ink, how it is good to hide things with. If you're doing messages, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in this particular worksheet today. We also know that heat allows us to see invisible ink. Okay? All right. With all of that out of the way, this is my friend, Matteo, and we're going to read a small little story about Matteo and then answer some questions. Here we go. Matteo likes to read. The people in his books write with ink you can't see. They have to find ways to see the messages. Matteo wants to make some. I'll read it one more time. Matteo likes to read. The people in his books write with ink you can't see. They have to find ways to see the messages. Matteo wants to make some. Cool. So, let's go take a look at question number 1. Can you ever see invisible ink? Can you ever see invisible ink? A, no, you can never see it. B, yes, you can find ways to see it. C, yes, you can always see it. Or D, it doesn't exist. Can you ever see invisible ink? And your choices are no, you can never see it. Yes, but you need to find ways to see it. Yes, you can always see it, or it doesn't exist. Take a second and circle the correct answer. Okay, number 2. And this one is going to be a writing exercise for you guys. So I'm going to read it for you, and then if you want to pause the video while you write in the answer, that is completely okay. Number 2. What is a question Matteo can ask about invisible ink? What is a question Matteo can ask about invisible ink? So on these 2 lines here, I want you to write one question Matteo can ask about invisible ink. Okay? And I am going to go ahead and flip over to our social studies activity while you are working on this. Please make sure you are pausing the video so you can write your question. Do not forget that since it is a question, you need to use a question mark. This right here is a question mark. All right. While you're doing that, I'm going to switch to social studies. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Or, if you are just watching the video straight through, hello, and welcome with staying with me still. We are now in our social studies area, where we're on week 18, day 3. We're talking about people in the community. Yesterday we talked about principals. The day before that, we talked about teachers. Okay? Before we do that, though, please make sure your name is at the top and the date is written over here off to the side. I also want you to make sure your science activity is done before we get started on this. Okay? Okay. So for our social studies today, like I said, we're looking at police officers, but there's not a story or passage to read about police officers. Instead, we're going to be looking at this picture and taking a guess as to what we think police officers do. Okay? So what we see in the picture, though, is this gentleman right here, who is the police officer, and it looks like he's talking with the young boy here. The young boy looks happy to be talking to the police officer. He doesn't look scared. He doesn't look upset. And the officer looks like he's listening. So that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at question 1. Based on the picture, what do police officers do? A, they help keep us safe. B, they sweep the roads. C, they dance in the street. Based on the picture, what do police officers do? They help keep us safe, they sweep the roads, or they dance in the street. Go ahead and take a second and circle the answer you think is correct. And remember, all this week we're learning about people in the community. We're learning about leaders and what they do. We know that principals are here to help teachers and help students. We know that teachers are here to help students and teach. So what do you think a police officer is going to do? Are they going to try to keep us safe? Are they going to sweep the roads? Or are they going to be going and boogieing in the street? I can tell you right now, I don't think they're doing any TikTok dances out on the road. Just throwing that out there. All right, moving on to number 2, and this is the last part of our social studies activity today, and it's another one where you are writing in your answer. Number 2 asks, what do you think the boy and the police officer are saying to each other? So what do you think the boy and the police officer are saying to each other? So you are writing down, it could be one sentence, it could even be 2 sentences, of what the boy and the police officer are saying to each other. It's not a question, unless you want to, unless you think one of them is asking the other one a question. But, really look at that picture. Think about this picture right here. And think about what they could be saying to each other. Okay? So after you're done looking at this picture and you get a really good idea, go back down to the bottom, write in your answer. Okay? Do not forget to have your parents take pictures of your work and send it to me. That is the only way I can grade it. All right? But other than that, my friends, that is all we are doing for science and social studies today. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Otherwise, I will catch up with you guys later. Take it easy.